The glass tower shook with tension. Executives barked orders, alarms blared, and the screens across the room screamed with red warnings. System failure. Data wipe imminent. Millions were at stake. Her empire was seconds away from collapse. Through the chaos, her trembling voice broke the air. Soft, desperate, and nothing like the untouchable CEO the world thought she was. "If you can save this," she whispered, eyes locked on the only man not panicking, "I'll go anywhere with you." And his words, steady, cutting through the storm, made her freeze. "Don't promise me forever if you don't mean it." Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. "Somebody do something," the CFO shouted, slamming his fist against the glass table as screens flickered. "We're about to lose everything." Panic spread like fire through the control room. Suits scattered, shouting into headsets, phones ringing unanswered. But at the far corner, a man in a worn flannel shirt didn't move. His hands, calloused and steady, hovered over the keyboard of a console no one else dared touch. "Sir, you can't," an IT manager began, but stopped cold when the man looked up, his blue eyes unshaken by the storm. The CEO, Evelyn Hart, stepped closer. Everyone else avoided his corner like he didn't belong, but right now, he was the only one not drowning in fear. "You said you used to work in systems repair," she whispered, her voice low, trembling as if it cost her everything to admit desperation. "Can you stop this?" Daniel Cole, a single dad who had stumbled into this building by accident of fate, turned his head slowly toward her. "I can," he said quietly. "But once I touch this system, there's no going back. Either I save it, or everything you've built burns." Her breath caught, her hand clutching the edge of the table. Her empire, her life's work, billions of dollars and thousands of employees, all hanging on a man who had grease under his fingernails. "If you can save this," she leaned closer so only he could hear, "I'll go anywhere with you." The room stilled. The storm of shouts, alarms, and warnings seemed to fade in that single fragile vow. Daniel's lips curved, not in arrogance, but in something sharper, something that made her spine lock. "Don't promise me forever if you don't mean it." Silence. For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the failing servers. Evelyn's chest rose and fell in jagged breaths. She had faced billion-dollar negotiations, court battles, and ruthless competitors. But this man's calm words cut deeper than any boardroom threat. "Then prove me wrong," she whispered back. Daniel set his jaw, rolled up his sleeves, and slid into the chair. His fingers moved across the keyboard, and the entire room leaned in. Watching the man, nobody believed in attempt the impossible. But he wasn't just saving a company. He was saving her. Daniel's first move wasn't code, it was control. "Kill the uplink," he said, pointing to the orange fiber line snaking out of the core switch. "If data's exfiltrating, we stop the bleed before we try surgery." A junior tech hesitated. "Sir, that line feeds half the trading arm," the CFO snapped. "Absolutely not." Evelyn stepped between them. "Pull it." The room froze. The junior tech yanked the fiber. The red alarms thinned to a steady amber. The building felt like it exhaled. Daniel nodded once. "Good call." He slid a legal pad in front of him and drew 3 boxes. "We treat this like a house fire. Contain, vent, salvage." He looked up. "I need one person in this room who will do exactly what I ask. No grandstanding, no side calls." Evelyn didn't flinch. "Rosa, you're with him." A woman in a navy blazer stepped up, hands shaking just enough to show the stakes. Daniel noticed and softened his voice. You're doing fine. Think slow, act clean. He moved, not with panic but with purpose. Shoulders squared, sleeves up. Spin a right-blocked clone of the transaction engine, he said to Rosa. Air gap it. I want a shadow system standing by, red only. He turned to the floor. Nobody touches production unless I say so. If you're tired, step out and breathe. This isn't about heroes. A kid in a badge lanyard, barely out of college, stood frozen, eyes wet. Daniel gently set a bottle of water in his hand. You saw the indicator first, he said. That saved us 5 minutes. 5 minutes is payroll for 1,000 families. The kid blinked hard and nodded. The CFO leaned in, voice low and cutting. Who are you to take over my floor? Daniel didn't rise to it. I'm the guy who will hand you back your ledgers intact, he said quietly. Or the guy you can fire when this is over. Either way, let me work. He flagged a console. See the jitter? He enlarged a graph, spikes at perfect intervals. This isn't a crash. It's a key rotation hijack, a fake certificate injected into the trust chain. Someone got you to accept their signature. External, Evelyn asked. Could be. Could also be someone inside clicked a very convincing urgent patch. No witch hunts right now. He looked around the room. Nobody here is the enemy. The enemy is time. His phone buzzed in his pocket, the custom tone he used for his 8-year-old. He checked the screen, thumbed a quick voicemail. Hey, Peanut. I'll be late tonight. Lasagna's labeled in the freezer. Warm it up. Text Aunt Laura if anything's weird. Proud of you. 2 chapters, light off by 9. He paused, then added softly, I love you. He hung up and caught Evelyn watching, something unreadable in her eyes. Backups? He asked. Nightly, immutable, Rosa said. But the snapshot window is not current enough for live obligations, Daniel finished, already typing. So we stopped the counterfeit keys from nulling your books and route traffic through a clean, pinned path. He sketched a plan like a rhythm he knew by muscle memory. Quarantine the compromised signing authority. Stand up a temporary trust anchor with hardware tokens he brought from his own shop. Long story, he said when Rosa looked surprised. Verify last known good hashes from local, offline receipts he'd insisted on generating when he first looked at their process that morning. Because printers lie less than networks. Patchwork, the CFO scoffed. Bridges save people before architects draw the pretty ones, Daniel said. Rosa, on my mark, we'll swap certs in a rolling window, 30-second cutovers. Evelyn. She straightened. Tell me where you need me. He met her gaze head on. Stand where everyone can see you. Calm, no spin. If a call comes in from a board member, you tell them the truth. We're containing, validating, and restoring with integrity. Not gambling, not hiding. She lifted her chin and did exactly that. Voice even, eyes steady. The room's breathing matched hers. Daniel's hands flew, but his words stayed gentle. No blame. Stay kind. We are not our worst 10 minutes. He hit enter. For one count of a heartbeat, nothing. Then the first amber tile on the wall went green, followed by another, then 3 in a row. Rosa whispered, It's holding. A crack of relief rippled across the floor, and then a new alert flashed, colder than the rest. Unauthorized local login. Basement or rack? Daniel's chair scraped back. Someone's in your building, he said, already moving. This isn't just code. Daniel didn't wait for permission. He was already moving fast down the stairwell, his boots pounding against the concrete steps. Evelyn followed close behind, her heels clicking against the metal rails. Wait, Where are you going? She called, breathless. He didn't slow. If someone's jacked into your auxiliary rack, that means it's not just code. They're inside the building. And if they're inside, they're not after your money anymore. They're after leverage. Her chest tightened. Leverage. Like me. He shot her a look over his shoulder, sharp and steady. Or anyone tied to you. By the time they reached the basement corridor, the hum of servers grew louder. A faint glow leaked under the steel door at the far end. Daniel lifted a finger, silent signal to stop. Evelyn froze. He bent, checked the lock. Compromised. He pushed the door open just enough to see. A man in a gray hoodie was crouched by the rack, plugging in a device flashing red. Daniel didn't hesitate. He stepped inside. "Walk away right now," he said. Voice low, carrying authority that silenced the intruder for half a beat. The man jerked upright, panic flickering in his eyes. "Stay back." He raised a screwdriver like a weapon. Evelyn's breath caught, but Daniel remained calm, his tone steady as stone. "You don't want to do this. You came for quick money, right? A score, I get it. But I promise you, you won't win by threatening people." Something shifted. Daniel didn't charge, didn't threaten. He showed the man a door out. The intruder's hand trembled, the screwdriver wavering. Seconds ticked by like hours. Finally, he dropped it with a clatter and bolted for the exit. Daniel exhaled, then unplugged the device from the rack. He held it up, wires still sparking faintly. If this had stayed in another 5 minutes, your entire system would have been wiped clean. Evelyn's throat tightened, her voice breaking into a whisper. You just saved everything." Daniel shook his head, setting the device on the floor. "Number I saved your tomorrow. The rest, you have to protect." For the first time in years, Evelyn Hart, the woman known as the Iron CEO, felt her knees weaken. She leaned against the rack, eyes locked on him, and whispered words she didn't plan to. "I wasn't bluffing, Daniel. If you can save this, I'll go anywhere with you." He looked at her quietly, searching her face. And then he said the one thing that made her freeze all over again. "Don't say anywhere, when you've never been where I come from." Daniel didn't wait for permission. He was already moving fast down the stairwell, his boots pounding against the concrete steps. Evelyn followed close behind, her heels clicking against the metal rails. "Wait, where are you going?" she called, breathless. He didn't slow. If someone's jacked into your auxiliary rack, that means it's not just code. They're inside the building. And if they're inside, they're not after your money anymore. They're after leverage. Her chest tightened. Leverage, like me. He shot her a look over his shoulder, sharp and steady. Or anyone tied to you. By the time they reached the basement corridor, the hum of servers grew louder. A faint glow leaked under the steel door at the far end. Daniel lifted a finger, silent signal to stop. Evelyn froze. He bent, checked the lock. Compromised. He pushed the door open just enough to see. A man in a gray hoodie was crouched by the rack, plugging in a device flashing red. Daniel didn't hesitate. He stepped inside. "Walk away right now," he said, voice low, carrying authority that silenced the intruder for half a beat. The man jerked upright, panic flickering in his eyes. "Stay back!" He raised a screwdriver like a weapon. Evelyn's breath caught, but Daniel remained calm, his tone steady as stone. "You don't want to do this. You came for quick money, right? A score, I get it. But I promise you, you won't win by threatening people." Something shifted. Daniel didn't charge, didn't threaten. He showed the man a door out. The intruder's hand trembled, the screwdriver wavering. Seconds ticked by like hours. Finally, he dropped it with a clatter and bolted for the exit. Daniel exhaled, then unplugged the device from the rack. He held it up, wires still sparking faintly. If this had stayed in another 5 minutes, your entire system would have been wiped clean. Evelyn's throat tightened, her voice breaking into a whisper. You just saved everything. Daniel shook his head, setting the device on the floor. Number I saved your tomorrow. The rest, you have to protect. For the first time in years, Evelyn Hart, the woman known as the Iron CEO, felt her knees weaken. She leaned against the rack, eyes locked on him, and whispered words she didn't plan to. I wasn't bluffing, Daniel. If you can save this, I'll go anywhere with you. He looked at her quietly, searching her face. And then he said the one thing that made her freeze all over again. Don't say anywhere, when you've never been where I come from. The words lingered in the air, heavier than the alarms that had just fallen silent. Evelyn swallowed, her breath shallow. Then show me, she whispered. Daniel didn't answer right away. He powered down the compromised rack, pocketed the device, and only then turned to her. His voice was quiet, steady, like a warning wrapped in kindness. You run a world of glass towers and billion-dollar deals. My world is scraped knuckles, overdue bills, and trying to convince an 8-year-old she's safe when the lights flicker off. Are you sure you want to see that? Evelyn's chest tightened. No one spoke to her like this. No one dared. But instead of recoiling, she stepped closer. You think I'm afraid of real life? Try me. Upstairs, the boardroom had exploded into applause when the screens finally glowed green, but Evelyn barely heard it. Her eyes followed Daniel as he signed off with the IT team, gave Rosa a reassuring pat on the shoulder, and brushed past the CFO's scowl without even looking at him. Later that night, a black SUV idled outside the skyscraper, but Evelyn slipped into Daniel's battered pickup instead. The leather seats were torn, the heater groaned, and a child's backpack sat in the back seat with cartoon stickers peeling from it. He caught her staring. That's Lily's, my daughter. She's 9. Something softened in Evelyn's face. She must be proud of you. Daniel's grip on the wheel tightened, eyes on the road. She doesn't need to be proud. She just needs me to show up, every day. No excuses. When they reached his neighborhood, a row of small houses with cracked driveways and flickering streetlights, Evelyn sat quietly, taking it in. No marble lobbies, no glass walls, just worn porches, kids' bikes left on lawns, and the smell of someone grilling late at night. Daniel parked, turned to her. This is what I meant. No cameras, no prestige, just survival. She surprised him with a small smile. It feels more alive than any boardroom I've ever sat in. Before he could respond, the front door swung open and a small voice called, "Dad!" Lily came running out in pajamas, messy hair bouncing, clutching a stuffed rabbit. She froze when she saw Evelyn, blinking wide eyes. Daniel crouched, brushing his daughter's cheek. It's okay, Peanut. This is Evelyn. She's a friend. Lily studied the CEO in silence for a long moment, then held out the stuffed rabbit. Do you want to hold her? She makes me feel better when I'm scared. Evelyn's throat tightened as she knelt, accepting the rabbit with both hands like it was made of glass. Thank you, sweetheart. I think I needed this more than you know. Daniel watched the exchange, his heart caught in his chest. For years, it had just been him and Lily against the world. But tonight, with the faint hum of the street lamp overhead, he wondered if everything had just shifted, and Evelyn Hart, the woman who whispered she would go anywhere, was now standing barefoot in his driveway, holding his daughter's toy like she belonged there. Lily tugged Evelyn's hand as if she'd known her forever. "Do you want to come inside? Dad makes lasagna, but it's kind of crispy on the edges." Evelyn actually laughed, a sound Daniel had never heard from her before. "I'd love to," she said softly. Inside, the house was small but warm. School drawings taped on the fridge, the faint smell of garlic still lingering in the air. Evelyn traced her fingers over a picture of Daniel and Lily drawn in crayon, stick figures smiling under a sun. The paper was wrinkled, but it carried more weight than any painting in her penthouse. Daniel set plates on the table. "Sorry, no crystal glasses here. Just chipped mugs and whatever's clean." She shook her head, smiling. "It's perfect." For a moment, the three of them sat together. Evelyn in her designer suit, Daniel in his work shirt, Lily kicking her feet under the table. And somehow, it didn't feel wrong. It felt inevitable. After dinner, when Lily had fallen asleep on the couch, Daniel walked Evelyn to the door. The night air was cool, the street quiet. She stood close, eyes glinting in the porch light. "You saved my company today," she whispered. "But more than that, you reminded me what matters." He looked at her, steady as ever. "Careful, Evelyn. You're not talking about servers anymore." She didn't flinch. "Number, I'm talking about you." For the first time, Daniel let the walls drop. He stepped closer, his voice low. "I've lived a long time believing I wasn't enough for someone like you. But tonight, watching you sit at my table, watching you laugh with Lily." He shook his head, almost in disbelief. It felt like home. Her hand brushed his, lingering. "Then don't push me away." Silence stretched, until finally, Daniel leaned in just enough for her to hear the words that froze her all over again. "I don't need anywhere, Evelyn. I just need here. With you." She closed her eyes, a tear slipping free. Not out of weakness, but relief. For once, she wasn't the CEO, the untouchable figure everyone bowed to. She was simply a woman, standing on a quiet porch, holding on to something real. And in that moment, in a small house with peeling paint and a sleeping child inside, Evelyn Hart knew. This was the place she had promised to go. She was already there.